it is very common these days that you see cracks developing in so many buildings, and people think perhaps it's normal. Well, it is not normal. There are different types of cracks, but the basic thing is that you can see a crack developing from the top to the bottom, and some other cracks start from the bottom to the top. When it's from the top to the bottom, well, it's easily managed because it means that it's a problem of loading. So you can check what is causing it up there, and then once you address it, it is settled. But when a crack starts from the bottom, it means it's a foundational problem. So, building collapse. This is something that has been happening for some time, especially in Nigeria. And I would say it is very, very unfortunate. My thoughts to the owners of this building and the lives that have been lost in the course of this unfortunate incident. Now, building collapse can be as a result of so many factors. The basic thing is that most collapses start from the foundational stage, foundation defects. Now, many building collapses, unfortunately, are as a result of human errors, and in some other cases, as a result of greed. Now, this is it. Buildings are designed to carry determined amount of load. By loading, if a building was designed, for instance, a three-story building was designed as purely residential to carry 6 household apartments, and then in the course of construction, the owner of the building, the client now, decides that it would be a fantastic idea to have a warehouse down and then a private clinic up. Or in some cases, in the course of the building construction, he decides that no, I don't want a residential building anymore. I want to turn it into a school. Now, this building had been designed to be residential, in which case you won't have that many number of people. In a residential building, for instance, the loads are determined. You know that it is unfounded. It is very difficult to have, say, in a room, a space of 3 meters by 3 meters. I'll say in a 10 square meter area. You shouldn't have, if it were a residential building, you won't have more than, say, 5 people or 6 people. So your relative is going to visit, and then it's crowded. You're having a wedding, your friends came around. 6 people. But when it is now a school, schools are designed to have in one square meter is designed to carry 6 people. So you can see that the design for a school is different from the design for a residential building. So if a building was designed as a residential apartment, and in the course of construction, the owner decides to turn it into a school, you see that everything has been altered. Meanwhile, the foundation was not prepared to carry that amount of load. Let me just cite one example, the case of the Ikoyi building collapse. Sorry, I'm bringing this up, but we hear, though not confirmed, that building was meant to be a 15-story structure, later adjusted to 21 floors. So and the foundation had already gone far. So these things are what leads to building failures and collapses. And we've had smaller buildings which have collapsed over time. A building was meant to be a hospital and then later converted to a printing press. A printing press comes with heavy equipment. The building cannot withstand such loads. So it will carry it for some time and then it will get tired and give way. Civil engineers view buildings as the human body. We take buildings personal. What the human body can do, we compare it to the building. So if I know that I can carry 50 kg comfortably for 10 minutes, and then I'm carrying 50 kg, then I now decide that, or someone decides to load me with 80 kg. I may not last 10 minutes. I'll give way. That's exactly how buildings behave. Now, the second thing about building collapse is that in some cases, the environment, the structure on which the building is founded, was not properly studied and understood before that building construction started. So you may have a case of a building done on a land, and this is quite common with residential buildings. You may see a three-story building start developing cracks, and then later, starts tilting to one side or starts sinking. And it's common on private properties because a property may have been a refuse dump over the years, and then at the point of construction, you know, some decision was taken to just sandfill the area, and then those undesirable matter, the unsuitable material, is still down there. Over the years, it will decompose, and once it decomposes, it will settle. The building will settle, and then there's what we call uneven settlement. So you have one part of the building goes down, and then the other part is still standing on firm ground. Once it does that, there's a shift, and then inevitably the building may fail. Now, this brings us to the issue of cracks on buildings. It is very common these days that you see cracks developing in so many buildings, and people think perhaps it's normal. Well, it is not normal. There are different types of cracks, but the basic thing is that you can see a crack developing from the top to the bottom, and some other cracks start from the bottom to the top. When it's from the top to the bottom, well, it's easily managed because it means that it's a problem of loading. So you can check what is causing it up there, and then once you address it, it is settled. But when a crack starts from the bottom, it means it's a foundational problem, and foundational problems are not easily, if it's not well done, you see that that problem will be recurring over the years, and then it may lead to something catastrophic. So first, foundations. The foundation is the most vital part of the building. You know, so sometimes even when engineers take up building plans and start constructing, there are some things that you meet along the way that were not envisaged in the plans. So there was a building plan that said you are going to do the regular foundation, you just do your pad footings all around. But then, while excavating, you discover that there's a weak area of soil, or there's somewhere that the material is unsuitable. It's at that point that the engineering knowledge comes into play. The engineer on site at that point determines what kind of foundation is suitable for that building around that location where he finds the unsuitable material. So he may now jettison the foundation that was designed for that point, and then uses his engineering knowledge to construct a foundation that will take care, that will address that particular challenge at that point. That is the reason why you need a civil engineer on your building project, because such decisions are not just taken by anybody. You may have someone who has been building for over the years, and we find it a lot that people say, I've been constructing buildings for years. My grandfather was a builder, my father was a builder, and I too have been building for 32 years. Yes, we appreciate the knowledge, we appreciate your experience and that of your family and ancestors, but then engineers come with their own specific knowledge, which is not just picked up from 100 years of construction. So it is at that point that the engineer applies the knowledge, his knowledge of soils, of materials, of foundations, and how to design to take care of that particular challenge. Engineers are meant for challenges. If you're an engineer, you not solve challenges. We meet needs when the needs arises, and we take care of challenges when they arise. So that takes care of foundation, because when your foundation is not okay, and not every land, people want to build and then they just feel that the foundation that their friend did is what should also be applied in their own case. No, every building comes with its own specific, every land comes with its own specific challenge. So when the engineer visits the site, starts construction, and then sees the kind of foundation, even before the start of construction, he sees the foundation obtainable at your site. That is what informs his design concepts. So you may have a foundation that is just your column footings are maybe 3 feet by 3 feet, if you understand that. And because your friend did that, yours, the engineer may recommend having 4 feet by 4 feet, and then the thickness of the foundation increases. there are times where the engineer can decide to combine the foundation, so that it is not just single footings, it is a stretch. There are reasons for these things, and it is not what we discuss here. We charge fees for that, but those are the kind of knowledge that the engineer brings to bear on your building, so that when your building is completed, you can be confident that that building will stand the test of time. There's a case of a project that I did, and the the client, when we were doing the foundation, the client was so concerned because you know first it was a public structure, it was a school, and when doing such structures, we must consider the amount of people, the number of people that will be in that structure. If should I bring in another? If a doctor, for instance, makes a mistake, one life is lost. When an engineer makes a mistake, and a school, for instance, a lot of lives are at risk. So engineers take special care in ensuring that mistakes are reduced to the barest minimum on building structure. So I was saying the foundation was so, would I call it, heavy. It was according to standard in my case, but then the client had never seen that kind of foundation. So the client was concerned that, in our words, we're wasting materials, burying these materials. Well, we completed the foundation because when I'm on your project, I insist that you get good stuff, and then I gave her the guarantee that, you see this structure, um, there is no fear whatsoever. I had to leave the project at some stage, and then some other engineers came in, yeah, at another stage. When they came, they decided to carry out tests on the foundation, and it was at that point that the client, you know, called to appreciate the work that was done on that foundation, because it was commended, and it was realized that this building was solid and there was no fear whatsoever. Sometimes when one professional leaves a building construction, there's so much fear that the person coming to take over may come and experience something, will not be able to carry on with the work that was being done, because of certain fears, of they're not sure of the kind of the level of work or the kind of work that was done by the previous person in charge. So this particular client was then appreciative of the work that was done. So I was talking of building collapses. In summary, collapses are caused by avoidable errors, avoidable decisions, avoidable errors and avoidable decisions. So as a client, you must determine and stick to the proper purpose of the building that you intend to get. So if you want to have a warehouse and a printing press, please determine from the beginning, or at least inform the engineer that for the first 5 years, this will be a residential apartment. Then at some point later, I intend to establish other businesses here. So we're going to redesign this space and then make this into a printing press, make this into a conference hall, make this into office area. You must inform the engineer of these decisions that you intend to make, so that everything can be taken care of at the foundational level, so that when you are using the building, you are not or you are not shaky. You don't start calling, you don't make the engineer start praying on the building, asking for angelic support for your building.